What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Creative Workouts Gym. And today we're going to talk about the word of the week, which is portion control. And so this is a very important word because this makes a huge difference between whether you're going to gain a lot of weight or you're going to stay slim. So you got to have portion control. And it's also very important because portion control, generally speaking, is a subconscious thing. You really don't think about how much you eat on a daily basis. But it's something that you have to make conscious when you are trying to maintain your weight or you are on a weight loss journey. You have to really pay attention to how much you eat. So you have to really think about these things. And so the question is, what are some tips that will help you better portion control? And so the people at the gym, they wrote down some tips that will help them better portion control. And I wrote down some tips that will help a person better portion control. Okay, so the first one is eat the size of your hand. All right, so we're going to break some of these things down. BMI tells you if you are at a certain height, this is the size that you're supposed to be. This is the weight that you're supposed to be. Okay, so same thing with your hand. When somebody's tall, generally speaking, they have bigger hands. If somebody's short, they have smaller hands. So you can look at the size of your hands and determine, generally speaking, how much you're supposed to eat. So if you're small, you're supposed to eat the size of your hand, which is smaller. If you're tall, you're going to eat more, so you're going to have bigger hands, so you'll eat bigger, okay? But when you are short and you're eating a lot of food way bigger than the size of your hands, then you know that you're eating too much. You're eating for a tall person as if your hands were like this big, because, you're short. You're not like 7 feet, so why are you eating like your hands are this big? And so that's one way of portion controlling. All right, the second way of portion controlling, another tip, do not eat to be full. Eat to be satisfied. So when you're eating your food, you're supposed to be eating to not expand your stomach. People eat and their stomachs are way out here. You even unbuckle your belt. When you're eating, that's way too much food. You're supposed to eat to where your stomach does not expand. It might expand a little bit, but not too much. Especially you're not supposed to eat to the point where your stomach expands and you get tired. You get the itis. That's a problem. It's a big problem. So you're supposed to, after you get finished eating, you're still supposed to have some energy to, do some things, to move around, to exercise, to run, to walk, whatever. You're not tired. So don't expand your stomach. Eat to be satisfied. A third one, give your brain 20 minutes to realize you are full. So one thing is when you eat fast, if you were to take a break for 20 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes, then you'll realize that your stomach is going to catch up to your brain. Because your brain is saying we need to eat more, but then if you give it some time, your stomach is going to expand to the point where it's like, okay, no, we're good. We really don't need to eat more. But if you just go ahead and eat more, because your brain is telling you to do so, and then you're going to, after you really get done eating, and then give it 20 minutes, your stomach going to really expand because it's been full, but it's just your stomach hadn't caught up to your brain. All right, another big one is cut eating heavy carbs out by about 90%, especially when you're overweight and you're looking to lose weight. More than likely, you eat way too much carbs. You eat too much bread, rice, pasta. Those are some of the main culprits. So you got to cut back on that. And you eat so much, you need to cut back 90% because the average American diet, you eat way too much. So you need to lessen the amount of carbs that you eat, the complex carbs, what we're talking about. Cut that back by a significant amount. For some people, it might be 50%. But I would say for the average American, 90%. That should be the smallest thing that you eat on your plate is the carbs, complex carbs. And it should be brown rice, not white rice, whole wheat bread, not white bread, whole wheat pasta, not white pasta. Those are the carbs that you should eat. But even the healthy carbs, you need to eat a small amount because when you eat these carbs, you tend to overeat it. It fills up your stomach very fast. And then, you tend to overeat. So that's why you should lessen the amount that you eat. Okay, and then the last tip we're going to talk about is drink a bottle of water before you eat. So you might even drink half a bottle and a half, or maybe 2 bottles of water, because water fills your stomach up, and so you're not going to feel hungry. After you finish drinking that 1 bottle to 2 bottles, and so you're not going to eat as much. So we know water doesn't have any calories, but you can feel full. But also another tip is when you drink a gallon of water a day, or at least a half a gallon of water a day, you're not going to be so quickly hungry. You're going to be decent. You're going to be walking around. You're going to be straight. But if you don't drink any water, then you're going to be hungry all the time. Or your stomach is going to be filled up with food, and then, you're going to be constantly overeating. But if your stomach is filled up with more water, you won't overeat, So those are the tips that we have. Comment on the video if you have any other good tips to where you're not going to overeat. All right, holla at y'all. Y'all be easy.